I have been sharing how I'm trying to get my life together for the last couple of years. From being productive to living in a nice space, navigating different phases of growing up, but nothing quite captured how disconnected I felt. I've been chasing a dream. I started when I was 15, and I had a lot of determination, which at one point led me to take it too far. To make ends meet and keep up appearances, I definitely forced myself into unhealthy cycles over and over again. I was in survival mode and the pressure was rising, so I closed up and kept pushing forward. I stopped sharing my honest truth and could only mention a few aches of my heart without going into detail. I put on a mask to hide how lost I actually felt. I can't keep going on like this, and I really don't want to. I would like this video to be a reset. I want to stop pretending like my life is going just fine, or make things look easier to understand, in hopes that I can build a life where my well-being comes before anything. That also means that YouTube is no longer my priority. And if you'd like to hear what it takes to heal and rebuild, let's look back a bit and talk.
Okay, we're ready. We're going. We're here. This is not what I wanted when I started creating. And today I want to talk about the dream I've been following and how my journey has been. That the fact that I'm so stubborn has made me take it pretty far in maybe not healthy ways of approaching my career and running my social media platforms. Of course, looking back, I think most of it was my projection or my also wish growing up that things would get better and that my life would improve, linearly. Well, it didn't. And I felt like it should have. And that's, I think, the thing that I tried to build up online. That even though I was seemingly progressing, with finishing my studies, which, in reality, I almost did not pass, and I did not study, even though I was making studying content. I guess I wasn't pretending to be a good student or anything, but y'all, like, I've also really felt like an imposter when people would be inspired by me studying or me being productive because I wasn't that productive. There were definitely many small wins along the way, and there is definitely also a lot of content that I've produced and made that I'm proud of. I just find it fascinating that, or how much shame sometimes I felt that my life was not as perfect as I made it seem, or maybe that's why I made it seem that way. You know what I'm saying? To maybe compromise for it or balance it out. So even when I, moved out for the first time and got my first apartment, I mean, that was a financial catastrophe, I think a part of me has really become good at trying to see the best in things. And that's sort of the version of my life that I tried to share, because it was still an aspect of my life. The thing was just that there was so much more, and there was actual real struggle behind a lot of things that I wish I could have talked about more honestly, or that I wish I could have included in the whole story. Summary, every time I didn't really achieve what I wanted, I felt more disconnected from my content, from sharing online, because it felt like one more thing that I wouldn't mention necessarily. So here we are, you know, and also even just this video, I can't perfectly, like, this is what I need to tell myself, you know, like I can't perfectly explain the last 10 years and convey all of the feelings that I have not shared. I can just share now that I'm frustrated or that I wish I could have done something else. Well, actually, I did answer this question. So what could I have done? In my estimation now, and in my understanding now, what I have been going through and what I documented and the time where I was trying to achieve my dream and create the things I was dreaming of was also kind of the time where I was, or it was a time where I was fighting for my existence. And what I feel like I really never talked about was how much I was compromising on or sacrificing to keep making videos or to keep going. And that it was kind of the only thing that I was living for at one point, you know. It became my whole identity, it became my whole life. And I really let all of this, or me going after trying to keep this up, I really let it destroy me, honestly. I think a person would only go so far if they maybe don't know how far they're actually going, you know, like because me personally, I didn't really know. My nose is leaking. Me personally, I didn't really know like a reality that was easier necessarily. So it didn't actually feel so hard, and it didn't actually feel like I was destroying myself, because maybe I was pretty used to that. So yeah, looking back, it doesn't sound great. But on a hopeful note, y'all, I mean, if I look at it, I just recognize like how many times I've had to look at my situation and be like, wow, this is a mess, this is a chaos, but I'll figure it out. And I think that's really something that I've been developing my whole life, sort of this hope and trying to infuse hope into a situation and to keep going. And yes, to keep going sometimes too far. Maybe sometimes I should have stopped, but I didn't know how to stop.
During this time, I thought being strong meant never giving up. But there's a fine line between determination and burnout. Behind the scenes of this channel, I was drowning. The financial stress was constant, the uncertainty was exhausting, and I was forcing myself to make content out of necessity. This meant that I was sacrificing my health, my sleep, and my relationships just to keep my platforms alive and the algorithm happy. I felt completely disconnected from my audience and doing what I love. 2 years ago, I moved to a new city because I realized something had to change. The amount of mental breakdowns I had on the actual ground was impossible to overlook. I couldn't keep sacrificing my well-being for this polished image that I felt like I had to keep up. I needed to get honest about my financial recovery, and I needed to build a career that was sustainable. And that's when I moved and decided to take a step that changed everything.
Y'all, this video is also sponsored by Squarespace. And I know I've said this before, but I have been redesigning my website. So let me tell you why Squarespace is perfect for that. I think what matters when you're creating a website as someone who's self-employed, as a business owner, as a creative, is that the website can grow with you. And that's what I feel super confident about with Squarespace. They have all the business tools that you need, marketing, SEO, but also it can grow with you aesthetically, because the options for designing with Squarespace are abundant. You can go with one of their professional templates, you can use their Blueprint AI. Either way, you can customize your website to make it work for you. So if you're interested, make sure to check it out at squarespace.com for a free trial. And once you're ready to launch, head over to squarespace.com/Yusuf for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Have fun creating your website. The sun is kind of leaving us, y'all. But in my story, this is kind of also where the sun comes back. Now, let's say I have been stubborn and I have been trying to keep my dreams alive. I have been trying to come back and make content that I enjoy for years, y'all. I mean, my sister and me were like, it's time, like we're coming back, bro. And we did not come back yet. The reason I feel like I can talk about this now is because I've done something that I was also a bit ashamed to do because it felt like I was giving up my dream, I really tried to postpone this as long as possible. Also, coming from the mindset of being self-employed, building my own things. It just felt like being employed and working for someone else's business, it doesn't fuel the fire, as much. But honestly, my fire was not healthy. But I mean, last year, being 25, and after so many years of not being happy with my content, I mean, y'all, the worst question ever was, what do you do in your life? Or like, what is your job, y'all? I would always say like, I do social media, but I'm so burnt out, for years. Like, I could honestly always just tragically laugh about it. And so I think last year I slowly mustered the courage to consider that actually financially this is not sustainable, and it hasn't been sustainable, especially since I've been burnt out. And I was so intimidated because I have never worked for anyone else. Like I've been self-employed since I was 18, So yeah, I did get a job. Surprise, surprise. No, I mean, obviously I do have some basic skills. But in the process of applying and pretending like, I'm a social media manager, I did realize that I do actually also have valuable skills and that I would like to continue in this career as well. And I'm excited, honestly. I think the abundance of getting a job as a creative and the benefits that I've experienced is another topic that I would love to dive into another time. But this was a big step of accepting that for many reasons, for my mental health, for feeling less pressure, and for being more real, and then for the financial aspect of a certain income every single month, getting a job was definitely a right step, or a step in the right direction. And I'm happy because it's the same direction that I've been taking, I think, since I started.
What is this direction that I'm going? I want to talk about my commitment to healing and what it actually means to rebuild my life from the ground up. Because for me, it means a complete shift in my perspective. Instead of forcing my life to fit into a piece of content, I started designing a reality that actually sustains me. Looking back with clarity, I can see how self-destructive it was to constantly run on empty. And this is why I emphasize the sustainability aspect, because I thought if I just make it around the next corner, if I just give it my all, I can keep pushing forward. But I had to learn the hard way that when you give everything, at one point, there's nothing left to give. I'm shedding the pressure to be perfect, or to be a version of myself that is simple to explain. I'm stepping into a chapter focused on true stability, slow growth, and meaningful connection. I really don't have all the answers yet, but I'm building a life that I actually love living, and I'd love for you to join me on the journey.
So in the beginning, I had a dream. I still have the dream. And being stubborn helped me. It did lead me to reach people. And while in my eyes, I didn't always feel really successful, I did achieve things that I did dream of. But once I reached, or even when I reached, certain goals or certain milestones, and I took over expectations that I may have felt, or when my expectations were pretty high, I didn't shy away also from sacrificing myself or anything actually that I had to keep going. And in that sense, my stubbornness really also drove me to self-destruction. I mean, I definitely gained a lot of resilience, and I knew that I was strong, or that I could keep going, and also that I could overcome things. But at the same time, I was still reaching lows, falling down and feeling burnt out. And I mean, I just knew like I was giving up my life for this, and that's not how I wanted to continue. And I mean, setting boundaries is a big topic, I think has been a big topic for me anyways. But setting the boundary between my life and work has been very important. And valuing my life also more than my content was, I think, the biggest switch. And when this happened, when I set this boundary, when I tried to live my life more and value it more, and realized that, y'all, if like, I realized, girl, if you don't have a life, like, you cannot make stuff. Like, if you keep going like this, you will also not be able to ever make stuff, like to create. And I think this distance really helped me to understand the things. I don't know, like, on one hand, it's like, okay, you know what? Keep the dream alive. Like, it's real, but at the same time, don't take it so seriously. Because by taking it so seriously and being so stubborn, I can't adapt. And I think that's what I had to learn. To adapt and to be flexible, and to also change the way I move forward a bit. For example, by having another source of income to take some pressure off. Because I think that's when I also understood, like, there's not just one path that I can go. And especially if I want this to be sustainable, I have to adapt.